Hi guys, welcome to our book club. Today will be the fourth session of the second book of 2023. Remember that the name is The Vegetarian, a book written by Han Kang. And today we will continue discussing the second chapter, whose name is The Mongolian Mark. And we will continue with the third and last chapter of this book, whose name is Flaming Trees. So let's just begin. As I was telling you, today we will continue discussing the second chapter. And remember the Mongolian mark. Remember the second chapter, and the story is about this girl who stopped, eating meat. She's developing these mental issues, having nightmares. She got divorced, and then she was in a hospital, a mental hospital, receiving mental treatment. And she has a brother-in-law. Her brother-in-law he started having these weird thoughts about her with flowers because of a Mongolian mark that she has on her butt cheeks. And also because he is influenced, or he's under the influence of a play that he recently watched, where there were two people kind of having sex while they have flowers on their bodies. So he wants to imitate because he thinks that he can do better. And he thinks that, her sister-in-law will be perfect for the for the project. He doesn't convince her because she doesn't say no at the beginning. She just say like, okay. So he doesn't convince her, but he is like very subtle while telling like, hey, I have this, can I? And she said, like, okay. So she accepts to have her body painted while recording it. And then, the guy wants more. So he invites one of his friends in order to have these extra scenes while having sex. He really wants to have real sex, but the guy says like, come on, this is, not a porn. So the guy just, accepted to take some pictures. They take some pictures. And at the end of the session, the girl is very aroused. She is very, horny. So the brother-in-law asked her like what happened, and she said like, I really like it, but it is not about the physical contact. It's just about the plants. I like the plants, the flowers, in the bodies. So he got an idea, the brother-in-law, and the chapter, the last session finished while we have this brother-in-law have his back painted by another artist. So the chapter begins, the second, continue with the second chapter, this session begins with the brother-in-law with his back painted by another artist that seems to be a woman, and they used to have like a relationship or something like that. So he arrives to join his apartment, and he describes, like the act of having sex, because he's not recording, he's not everything, is, like very horny. And it happens, and then he's not regretting it, but he's describing like it is not what he thought. He set up everything, he takes pictures, everything, it's amazing. And then, he got asleep. And then, this chapter finished with the brother-in-law just waking up in John his house, and then everything gets, like, oh, this is not, the camera is not where I put it the night before. So he is like very suspicious. He wakes up, he tried to walk. He saw that John he is sleeping very deeply. And finally he saw that in the dining room there's someone sitting on the table, and is his wife. So he realizes that she has seen what is on the camera, and kind of have the feeling that that is the end, So that the chapter finished there, with him having this like, oh, but I'm complete because this was my project. I'm an artist, and I'm so sorry for her, but like he didn't like her so much. So that is the end of the chapter with him trying to have these suicidal thoughts. And well, later on, the chapter number 3 starts, and this last chapter is called Flaming Trees. Flaming trees are, these kind of trees like pines, but the color are a little bit different because there are some reddish, yellowish, orangish, and well, those kind of forests, those kind of trees. And well, the chapter this time is being told not by the husband, not by the brother-in-law, but by the sister. And the sister is telling us, well, the chapter begins with her receiving a call from the hospital where her sister is. And the doctors are, oh, well, the nurses are telling her, like, hey, your sister is disappeared. Like, we are so sorry. We are looking for her. But in case she arrives to your house, like, call us, or, like, let your family know that she can be, like, in the surroundings. And well, at the end, she says that she cannot do anything because her son is sick, and she will let the people know. But so far, that's it. She cannot do so much. Later on, she received another call telling her, like, hey, we finally found your sister. She was okay. It was, like, it was a coincidence this nurse found her, but you need to come. So she's like, okay, I will be very soon there. And the chapter begins with her telling us that, why she needed to go to the hospital. And the chapter is, well, until now, the sister is traveling on a bus. She arrives to the hospital. She enters to the hospital. She asks for her sister. She's walking, and the chapter finished, why before she found her sister. But on all this tragic, she's telling us a lot of flashbacks. Well, she's telling a lot of details through flashbacks. For example, how was the relationship with her sister? That in the past, she was weird, but she used to laugh. She used to, to make some jokes, and she doesn't remember where she started to change. Also, that, in she is 4 years older than her sister. So she doesn't know really how was the relationship with her parents and her, because at the age of 19, she just got out her house and started maybe not her own business, but her own life. And well, she has a son, so she cannot imagine, like, what is her sister thinking. Also, she comments that, well, she's a mother and she's worried about her son. And moreover, so when her son was born, through some flashbacks, she tells us that the very first time or the very first thing that her sister said, it was like, oh, so human beings are so little then. That's fragile. Sorry. So something like that. And well, her sister said that's weird, but okay. And also the relationship with her parents, that her parents is like, I'm so sorry, we don't have, like a daughter. Her brother said, like, this is not my problem. And also, well, she's divorced. She is also telling us that after, the previous chapter, what is happening next? That she called the police arrived, and they saw that, her sister woke up. She was very close to the balcony, and also the guy, he wanted to jump, but one police grabbed him and her sister too, and she cried, she screamed or something like that. And well, that was it. Also that she is divorced now, and that the process of divorcing was very, very silent, very quiet, that they didn't want, people talk about it. And also, what is he telling us? Oh, that is not the very first time that she, that I think that from the painting session until now, if I'm not mistaken, like a year has happened already, like a year and some months. So she's telling us that she's the one who took the responsibility of her sister, and that she was looking for an affordable place for her because hospitals are quite expensive. And even if she managed, like her own store, she has her son. And also that well, she found her this hospital that is in the middle of a forest, or very close to a forest, and it seems that her sister like it. Also that her sister has been improving, she talks, and she doesn't look like a sick person. And we know that the sister, were it is like a unique case, because when the sister arrives and this, we know that John He is suffering from schizophrenia with some paranoia attacks, but that her problem or her situation is very unique, because it is not like she's sick or she is something. No, 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 like something provokes it, but they don't know what. And well, also during this, traject, we know that in one of her trips, in one of her previous trips, she discovered that she was acting weird. She was, like standing, like standing hands. She was upside down, de cabeza. So that the reason why it was because the trees, instead of having the roots, like those are the roots and this is my head, like no, this is my head and the roots were the hairs. So she was like discovering something that blows her mind. And she said, like, I need, I don't need food, I just need water in order to survive. So since then, I think it has already happened like 3 weeks or 3 months. I'm not sure, probably 3 weeks. So that is also the reason why, they say her sister disappeared. She was in a very, very hidden place. And it wasn't a coincidence, but, like it was almost like a miracle that we found your sister, because, it was in a very, very deep place. And they also said that her sister stopped eating. So right now she is suffering from anorexia. And also she's very skinny, like you cannot recognize her. She's like almost bones. And they said that because they are doctors, they cannot just let her die. So they will, if she doesn't accept to eat that afternoon, they will connect to this machine, so they will feed her. I don't know if through her nose or through her veins, but they will connect it to something in order, to feed her. So far, that is the story of this second and third chapter. Remember that this is the fourth session, so next time we will finish the book, and finally we will know how this story ends. So far, this is it. It has been a very interesting story, but let's just begin with our vocabulary review. So let me just connect, and share the screen. So we are ready, and remember that the previous chapter, the previous session just finished with this scene that is, with this lady painting or agreeing to paint, the brother-in-law's back. So the scenes, start here. It says, I tried to paint them the way you drew them. Is this lady saying, I tried to do my best, but I don't know. So we have palimpsest. That palimpsest, it is exactly as it sounds, un palimpsesto. And un palimpsesto, it says, like un manuscrito, an old, writing. It says, manuscrito en el que se ha borrado mediante raspado u otro procedimiento el texto primitivo para volver a escribir texto nuevo. So, it is like a board that you just erase it in order to write something else. So that is it. So it was a palimpsest of memories. So remember, the keys. Oh, because, it says the keys was a palimpsest of memory. So, you erase and you put some new and you erase and you put some new. So it says memories. And that's why we kind of feel that these two characters, they have something. Or there was something between them. Then we have slunk. And then slunk, it will be, it's slunk over, it slunk, estaba echado, tirado sobre sus hombros. So it says he set the filming equipment down by the front door. It was heavy and he had to carry some of it slung over his shoulder. So, he needed to carry his equipment on his shoulder. So it will be like this, like on his shoulders, slung over, colgando. So, there you go. Then we have, should I turn on the light? His voice was hoarse with desire. Hoarse, it will be, like ronco, deep, like, I will say like a beast. So here we continue, and then we have, he lay her down with the snarl clutching. So snarl, it will be gruñido, clutching. Remember that this is apretar con fuerza. So snarl clutching at her breast. Remember that this is the breast. So he was, like pressing them with one hand and haphazardly, haphazardly, it will be al azar, casualmente, sucking her lips and nose as he hurriedly unbuttoned his shirt. Yeah, because, like he's kind of desperate. He doesn't even, like set up his equipment. No, he was in a rush. So we have here then panting, and panting, it will be like, when you cannot breathe, like that's panting. And then we have intersperse. Intersperse, it will be entremezclado. So it says something interspersed with a moaning that rose into an eerie shriek. So eerie, espeluznante. So it was like gemidos, and then, like a shriek that it will be un chillido. So it was in between. And then it says he shuddered. He shuddered, it will be estremecerse, tembló. He never made a sound. Oh yeah, well, it's because, the sounds are coming from him. And he says like, what? Am I making noises? So it is, like this, having thought. It says flirtatious. Flirtatious, it will be coqueta. Flirting. Remember that is coquetear. So then we have swooning. Swooning, it will be extasiarse, embelezarse. We have when she flicked the lights, flick, it will be encender. Well, in this case, flick, it is not encender, but in this sense, it is flick, Then we have, can you lay down? Oh, yes, because at the beginning, everything was quick. And then he says like, well, yeah, that was the best. And then, she stood up and says like, can I turn the light? And she says like, for what? I want to see you. And she's like, okay. And then, it's like, nice body. And then she's like, okay, can we continue? That's what he says, can you lay down? And then it says, when she was laying down, he estimated were there entwined bodies. Entwined, it will be, like entrelazados. Because remember that his idea is to record. And then we have until here with sticky, grassy sap. Sap, it will be savia. What they are talking about? It says, every time he closed his eyes, he could see the lower half of his body dye green. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm so sorry. It is describing the semen, but remember, that's why it says savia, But remember that his body is painted. So he has plants, he has also, and also, if I'm not mistaken, it says that he painted his penis as if was the pistil of a flower. So, well, here is the sap, it is the savia, because it is thick. It's a thick liquid. Then we have keen. Keen, it will be apasionado. So her keen ecstasy to him. So keen, apasionado. So then we have gnash, her teeth. Gnash, it will be rechinar. So, like, rechinar. Scream rough and shrill. Shrill, it will be estridente. So, oh yeah, because it says in their final minutes of sex, that she snatched her teeth. So like remember, as I told you, it will be rechinar. Scream rough and shrill spat out stop. No, so estridente and also like very hard, like rough, fuerte, like stop. And then it says, and everything grew quiet. So that's it. And well, here I don't have vocabulary until here that it says he could share it with her, that it could be seared, and seared it will be chamuscar onto his skin like a brand. Oh, because they are talking about the Mongolian mark. And then it says he said feeling drowsiness slowly creep through his body. So creep, trepar. So he was getting asleep little by little. Then it says here, and so now the face inside my stomach, I rose up inside my stomach with her. Oh yeah, because it is like, why you stop eating meat? And she is telling her like, oh, I saw this face because of a dream. And she's like, what else? What this? And they are, like kind of discussing about this before getting asleep. So it says when he could make neither head nor tail off. So tail off, it will be like cortar. Just 1 second. Yeah, sorry. It's because it is not the complete expression. That was not the reason why it didn't make sense. So head nor tail, or like when he couldn't make neither head nor tail, all that expression means ni pies ni cabeza, neither head nor tail. So head nor tail, ni pies ni cabeza. So, remember that in this scene, the lady, well, he asked her, like, hey, when you stop eating meat, that's why all your problems started. And she said, like, well, because of a dream, I saw a face, and this face was like this and that. And, here is this kind of like, I don't understand, but okay. And then it's at the end, she says, but I'm not scared anymore. There's nothing to be scared of. So that's how, the night ends. Then we have here that he woke up and it says her dish bell, that remember that is, desaliñado. And then it's like an animal's mane. So mane, it will be melena. Then we have Tanji. Tanji, it will be ácido. It says the smell of her body filled the room, a sour, tangy smell with notes of sweetness, bitterness, and a rank of animal musk. So it is, ácido, and then it's a rank animal. Remember, like a wild or, like a powerful animal. And musk, it will be almizcle. So, I guess they are talking that it smells like sex or something in the morning or stuff like that. Then he is, like realizing that he slept and how much he slept, and it is the very first time in a very long time. And then it says here, heading towards the scene behind the partition, it will be the mampara. And then he noticed that, there was no camera. And then it says his wife. And he tried to be very polite, like, darling, are you okay? It's not what you think. But she has seen, what is in the camera. So here it says Cayus. Cayus, it will be cruel, insensible. And then it says here, stark naked. So stark, it will be austero, claro. So, he was with nothing. That's it. So it says here, the void of any form of expression, the void, it will be desprovisto. And here we have nothing. So that's it. Then this is the beginning of the chapter that I was telling you, with the sister telling us now the story. And it says the rain swept road. The rain swept, it will be, like una lluvia estrondosa. So it is, oh, I'm so sorry, this is not. The rain swept road. Yeah, it is just, like a road that is with a lot of water. The rain swept. Que la lluvia barrió. Okay, that's it. It is raining a lot. So it says she is at the bus stop across from Maceo Terminal. Huge, good advanced underpass. So all this means huge, good advanced underpass. Oh yeah, it is, talking about the cars. The wood bands underpass, pass, it will be the verb, and wood bands under, it will be, the kind of cars, wood bands. And then it says speeding along in the fast lane. Fast lane, it will be el carril. Then we have here on Chris, that on Chris, it will be sin arrugas, sin imperfecciones. Yeah, because Chris, it will be sin imperfecciones. Son sin arrugados. Oh yeah, because it is describing her outfit. Like, well, like like this, like that. It says she isn't really young anymore, and it could be difficult to call her a beauty exactly. The curve of her neck is quite attractive, and the look of her eyes is open and friendly. She wears light, natural-looking makeup, and her white blouse is neat and creased. Thanks to that smart impression, which one might reasonably expect to attract curiosity, attention is deflected away from the faint shadows clouding her face. So, well, it is describing her outfit. Then we have, well, used to this, she keeps her eyes averted from those probing gazes. So averted, it will be evitando, avert, evitar. So it says of those probing gazes, that mix of suspicion, caution, repugnance, and curiosity. Because remember, well, in this case, oh, well, it says you are going to choose some psychiatric hospital, right? So she is going to this hospital and she says psychiatric. So the people in the bus is like, is she patient? Is she going to visit someone? So that's why she doesn't want to look, at everybody, because she knows why, what people is thinking. So she shakes the water off her folded umbrella. Oh yeah, it is raining. It's she says that it's very common in that kind of place that it rains a lot. So it's raining. It says the floor of the bus is already wet, black, and glistening. So glistening, it will be reluciente. Why? Because of water. Then we have, she watches the streaks of rain lashing the window. So streaks, sorry, it will be rayas vetas, but it refers to the window when it's raining and the drops, just come down. That is the streaks of rain. And lashing, it will be, like latigazos, because it is like, oh, well, water when it comes down. The window with the untouched steadiness. Steadiness, it will be estabilidad. Then, as they reach Maseok, that is a place because it's Korean, the late Juno woods begin to unfurl. So unfurl, it will be desplegar. On either side of the road, there is something bathing down about the woods in this torrential rain. So bathing down, it will be que aseguraba, like te decía, like there is something bathing down, que te dice, que te asegura, Uh, I mean, it says here, the sense of the sentence is, there is something battened down above the woods in this torrential rain, like a huge animal suppressing a roar. So that means that as soon as you enter to the forest, you kind of feel, this wild sensation that there is something, maybe, as it says here, a huge animal suppressing a roar, that it will be gruñido. So here I don't have any more vocabulary. Then until the rain swelling the black. So swelling it will be, like hincharse, llenarse. So it says, This happened only on fixed days, only for non-serious patients, and only when the ray swelling the black clouds overheat seemed likely to stay there. Oh, because she is remembering where when she received the call and told her like, hey, your sister disappeared. So yeah, it is between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. This happened only on fixed days because she says that it happened when they have this 1 hour for them to walk alone. And well, these kind of hours is when the clouds, even if they are full, it seems that it's not about to rain. So they just let them be. And then it says here the rain had gradually grown heavier as the afternoon wore on. This was March, so when darkness fell, it did so very swiftly. Swiftly, rápidamente. Oh, okay. So it says, it was extremely lucky that one of the nurses, who between them had fanned out and searched every inch for the neighboring mountain. Oh, because here is describing that how they found their sister. And found, it will be this. But found out, it is like abanicar, like buscar, like really nicely, you know? So it's like, well, she was like looking around in an area, and it says, no, in fact, it was nothing sort of a miracle. That was what the doctor had said. Apparently, this nurse had stumbled upon, so stumble, it will be like tropezarse, like encontrarse. Stumble upon Yonhee in an isolated stop deep in the woods covering the mountain slope. Standing there, stuck still and soaked with rain as she herself were one of the glistening trees. So she was acting like a tree, and she said that it wasn't a miracle, but like she was deep in the forest in just one place, acting like a tree. And well, yeah, I don't have vocabulary here, but remember that she's having flashbacks, and we know part of the story, how everything is going. And I don't have vocabulary here, and then I have here. And that night, if the fever didn't abate. Oh yeah, because she here is describing that her son is sick. He's suffering from fever. And if the fever didn't abate, so that would be like redimir, like reducir. So she cannot do anything, reducir. So mm, mm, mm. Oh yeah, because she's describing like, well, if she is not appearing, and then I have my son, I have to take it to the hospital. So like I can't go with my sister now. And then said like she received another around 9 in the evening, another call, and said like we have found her, and said like okay, thank you. I will come and visit her next week as normal. And then it's describing, I think, the hospital and stuff like that. Or no? Well, it says, she held a wet flannel to her snuffling son's forehead all night. So flannel, it will be franela, and snuffling will be resoplante. So remember that he is suffering from sick, so I think, he's sick, so it is just, like it is moving. That's it. Then it says Black Mountain Slope, Yonhee, and inchoate mass form of darkness and water. So inchoate, incipiente. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I think I didn't remember this detail. But in all these kind of well, in this period, while she's visiting her sister and more, she has a dream. In her dream, she saw her sister as a tree. She was upside down with, her legs wide open, and that flowers were coming from her crotch. And where flowers were coming, and, like this weird that, she's like a plant and stuff like that. And I think, yeah, she had like a dream weird related with plants. So, just telling you. And then it says inchoate that I told you, it would be incipiente. Don't, it would be el amanecer, you know, eventually that they don't, amaneció. She got up, went out of the bedroom, and stared blankly at the bluish half light leaching in. So leaching in, it will be infiltrándose from the living room veranda. Veranda will be just, you know, like a balcony, but it's not a balcony. It's just, you know, like a window. Then we have delve down. Delve down, it will be profundizar. Oh yeah, this is the dream. Remember that we have, when we have a different font, it's a dream. So it says, look, sister, I'm doing a handstand, you know, de cabeza. Leaves are growing out of my body, roots are sprouting out of my hands. They've delved down into the earth, endlessly, endlessly, yes. I spread my legs because I want the flower to bloom from my crotch. I spread them wide. So that's the dream. And it's weird for her. Then it says her eyes snapped open in fright and she was stung by waking hatred, so aborrecida, the likes of which she will never felt before, because she doesn't know how to react. Then we have vocabulary almost at the end. As she rolls up her trousers to keep them out of the wet, she notices the flax leaf flea vein. So flax leaf flea vein, it's a plant. It's a plant, you know. It looks like chia, but it is not like chia, so it is flax leaf flea vein. That's the name. I don't have vocabulary here, nor here. Until here, it says, well, just, you know, there being something faintly unsettling about the quiet smile playing around John Hee's mouth. What seems to be happening was that John Hees was retreating from herself, becoming as distant to herself as she was to her sister. A forlorn face. A forlorn, it will be desolado, desolada, you know, in this case, face. Una cara desolada. Behind a mask of composure. This was clearly nothing like the melancholy that sometimes afflicted her husband, and yet, in certain respect, they were both baffling. So, baffling, it would be desconcertante to her in exactly the same way. I think it is in the chapter in these flashbacks. I don't remember exactly where. When she is having this flashback, why she got married with that guy, and she said that she met her at the college, and that she saw him, and she thought like, oh, I want to help him, but you know, like her help wasn't enough. She looked still, you know, like tired, worn out, you know, like fed up. So that's why also, you know, like I don't know why I was with that person. And also, here they are describing that when her son was born, that you know the husband was recording a video and says like, imagine if we have, you know, butterflies coming out from, you know, my son first step. And it's like, oh, that's cool, but they didn't have grass, they didn't have, you know, like money, so that was just, you know, like a project, a dream, and that's it. And that was the only time she knew how special was her husband for her work. And you know, there you go. So in here it says a large speckled moth. So speckle, it will be moteado, and moth, polilla. A type she's never seen before floats up for the surface of the wall into the nurse. Okay, what they are talking about. Oh, because she's like entering into a tunnel. Her husband liked to film flying things. Butterflies, airplane, moths, flies. This sinuous flying, which he always seemed to have inserted into a piece despite. Oh, yeah, because you know she's describing him and says like he's weird. There was one time he recorded this, and at the end of the film he just put a butterfly, and I asked him why a butterfly, and he says like why not, something like that. It is describing here. So layperson, it will be conocedor. She was a layperson when it came to art, so she was una conocedora. She knew. Maybe not like a lot, but just a little bit. Then it says she remembers the late afternoon when they first met. He come into her shop skinny as sorghum. Sorghum, it will be zancudo. Sorry. Saino, like very skinny. That's it. Stuck and with several days worth of stubble on his face. Stubble, rastrojo, barba incipiente. Oh, like she hasn't shaved in a couple of days. And then you have lunch? And then it says like, yeah, what she wanted from that afternoon had been to use her own strength to love him to rest. But despite devoting herself wholeheartedly to this goal, even after they were married, he still looked perpetually worn out. Worn out, it will be desgastado, agotado. So, like at the end, she was helpless. So continue with vocabulary. I don't have here. Oh yeah, I have another here that it says a bag. So the first time she went to one of his exhibitions after they were married, she was taking a bag. A bag, like desconcertado, like whoa. She couldn't believe that this man who had looked as thought he may be about to collapse had carted his camcorder. Carted, it will be llevar, acarrear, around all these various places. Yeah, because she's amazed by his job. Like, I cannot imagine that my husband is, like at the peak of that mountain or at that dangerous place. Like, he needs to carry his stuff, so it is not easy. And then here we have the cortege and sheer nerve. So sheer auténtico, puro. Yeah, because it says like, oh, he must be brave. It says the courage and sheer nerve he must at times have had to display, the patient perseverance that seems so sorry. It says that one more time. The courage and the sheer nerve he must at times have had to display, the patient perseverance that seemed so at odds with everything she knew about him. So, like she kind of feel that she didn't know him. And well, sheer, we know that is puro, auténtico. Then we have the loan. Loan, it will be el césped, el jardín. In that case, we should film it again on a lawn, on el césped. And it's describing here the scene where, his son was born and it is, like walking for the very first time. And the husband is like, remember those films from Hayao Miyazaki when, they have these? What if we just do the same but with, butterflies? But we needed to record this and there, but never happened. So it says, well, shabby. Here we have shabby miserable. So it says, you and he will have to wear white clothes. No, wait. How about if the clothes were really shabby, old and worn? So shabby miserables. Oh, because he says like, what if, imagine that you are very poor and you're walking in this kind of clothes. So every step will mean something because butterflies will just come out. He's giving this idea and then says, but they didn't have a loan. So remember, loan, jardín, césped, plus Yehu's son grew out. And then his son just, like grew up very quickly and nothing happened. So from a certain point onward progresivo, he began to work himself even harder than before. Yeah, because like, oh, he was working all the time. He was very focused on his art and this, but we know. So then it says here, oh, she arrives to the hospital. Here it says, I got an appointment to see Dr. Pang In Hu or Park In Hu. Ho. I don't know how to pronounce it, but she arrived to the hospital and asked for the doctor. Then we have Selkova. The Selkova, it's a kind of tree too. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a kind of tree. Then we have control branches and let the sunlight scintillate. Scintillate, it will be centellar, chispear, like it is coming this light. Then we have, and she sees her sister face flickering like a ghostly after image overlaid on the silent scene. After image will be una post imagen, no? That's it. She is having this flashback. She is not with her sister yet. So we know that the very first time and the process. And as I was telling you, this is the time where I think, she mentioned about the tree that she discovered above the roots. It says something here. Still, she cannot sleep. It's been 3 months straight now. 3 months of getting by snatching pockets of sleep here and there, never more than an hour at any one time. John his voice, the forest with the black rain falling, and her own face with the blood trickling from her eyes, shivered to the long night into fragments like post-shirts. Post-shirt, post-shirts? Post-shirts? Yeah, fragmentos. Usually when she was given up on trying to grind any more sleep, rying, it will be retorcer. Like she cannot conciliar, any more sleep. Oh yeah, is it like I cannot? Oh yeah. I'm so sorry if I'm confusing you, but this is like mixed, so you have to pay attention to who is talking because the situation of the sister is almost kind of the same as both sisters are experiencing the same. They cannot sleep, so they look almost the same. And she is like, well, the sister cannot sleep, or she cannot being able to sleep since like 3 months, and said like, well, when I cannot sleep, I just wake up and I start my day and I start doing this, my activities, everything with a nice attitude. And well, it is just describing here this. Then we have held her mouth open and forced a lump of meat, lump, it would be a piece meat inside in his body had jerked violently. Oh, she's remembering, the scene when, like, oh, my father, I never imagined he would just force a lump, a piece, like, oh, sorry, like a piece of meat, like, take it. And she doesn't imagine that her dad will be able to do that. So jerk it will be like sacudir violently. It will just like a thought, and then ramrod it will be the banqueta. She stood and watched stiff as a ramrod, while John Hugh howled like an animal and spat out the meat. Just 1 second, guys. So we were saying, guys, that in this part, the sister is remembering the scene with her father and the meet, the family's meeting scene. And then it says that, I couldn't do anything. I was just, I stood and watched Steve it is Tiesa, as a ramrod. Ramrod, it is baqueta, I'm sorry, not banqueta, baqueta, the one that you use for the drums, that one. While John Hugh whole it is aullar like an animal and spat out escupió, the meat. So here vocabulary we have tawdry. Tawdry, it will be vergonzoso, despreciable. Oh, because here we know that, John his husband, like, oh, she left it, like whatever it says. And then once John He had been admitted to the psychiatric hospital, surely she could have dissuaded her husband, Mr. Chung, from coldly casting her aside. Casting, it is, like aventarla, hacerla a un lado. And then it says, above all, that terrible thing that her own husband had done to John He. That thing she wanted to put as far from her mind as possible. Couldn't she have talking him out of it? Found a way to him change his mind before the whole thing descended into a cheap, trolley scandal? So tawdry, sorry, vergonzoso, despreciable. Because as I was telling you, she's the only one who is taking care of her sister. She kind of feels responsible of everything. So that's why. It's tawdry, vergonzoso, despreciable scandal because of her husband and the divorce. So we don't have vocabulary here, nor here. And then we have after her initial bout of mental illness. So bout, it will be combate. She returned to the stage where she was able to speak to others only to now withdraw into silence once more. Oh, because it's describing that her sister was doing better and then suddenly everything, like from zero again. And as before, she refused to eat meat. And if she saw and if she so much as set eyes on a side dish containing meat, she would scream and try to run away. So no meat. At the end of the day, no meat. Mm, Here is describing that she needs to pay. It says the two sisters' younger brother Yonhee and his wife were not different. Oh, let me just their parents, whom the whole sorry saga seemed to have greatly aged, didn't make any further effort to visit Yonhee, and even severe contact with their elder daughter In Hee, who remind them of the despicable way they treated Yonhee. So it is like, well, we didn't. They feel ashamed. So no. Then it says, in he who reminded them of the despicable, oh yeah, the two sisters' younger brother Yonho and his wife were no different, but she in he could not bring herself to abandon Yonhi, so she felt responsible. That's it. Then we have here, through the sheer inertia of a life lived in the way, she remembered puro. So it's the la pura inercia. That's it. Then to know, like, no vocabulary here nor here. Oh yeah, because she is remembering the last time she saw her, and it's like, your complexion doesn't look healthy. Are you not sleeping well? Like, are you okay? And then I think here is the scene where the trees. Oh, it is not here. Oh, but she is very, very rude. She speak with, like bad words. And then, well, it says, in his there at the garish flower pattern. So garish, it will be estridente. Mm, I don't have words here. Well, she'd be unable to forgive her soaring alone. So soaring, it will be creciente. For soaring along over a boundary, she herself could never bring herself to cross. Oh yeah, because she is kind of like, it's my sister. I want to understand that. I want to understand her, but I can't. There's something that even if I want to put myself on her shoes, I can't. There's this thing that I cannot, cross. So soaring creciente, and it says shock off social constraints. Oh, deshacerse. Oh, because she's like, well, there's something that doesn't allow me to be like the same as my sister, but at the same time I'm very jealous because she was able to say and to behave as she wanted, and she is like kind of envy that she shook off, that deshacerse of social constraints, the sociales, constructos sociales. So well, here, it just flashbacks. I know that says here, sir, and this, but it's just flashbacks. And well, it says she didn't look at Yodhi as she stood beside her. Instead, she looked down at the bright early winter sunlight and split over the larches. Larches, it would be alerces, the trees. Sister, said her voice. Oh, because this is, like the one of the last times. And this is the thing I told you about the trees. It says, sister, all the trees of the world are like brothers and sisters. And it's like, what? And then, it is like, she was looking already, like bad. But it says, well, it is like, you cannot go to a normal room, so you have to go to the special one because your sister cannot walk. So, well, it says flush or almost puss. Puss is it's a tone of rose. rose, sorry, pink. Let me just, well, I don't know if it is exactly the scene that she's remembering, but there are so many flashback and so many details of her, some of her visits. It says that in her last visit, like when I told you, she told her about the 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 discover, or the fact that she discovered that that fairy feet is not roots, it is backward, that handstand, so your hair and your arms, your fingers, it will be the roots. So she discovers that, and it says that since then she has been practicing handstand. And it says only when the nurse with whom she just spoken on the telephone guided her into the direction has she been able to recognize on his long, thick hair? Her sister was upside down and balancing on her hands, her face flushed or almost pus. Pus, it is, flush, it is roja, almost rosada. It is, pus, it is just a tone of pink, almost red. She's been at it for 30 minutes. She has been practicing. So I think this is the place, or the scene where she said like, oh, the roots. So a little notch. Notch, it will be empujón. Then what are you doing? Like look at you. And then it says sister. Oh, because she brought food. She has food, and it's like, hey, you have to eat fruit. You have this, no meat. You have this, and it's like, oh, you don't have to bring this. I don't need any more. And it says like, what are you talking about? And it says, like, I just need water. I didn't, you see, I thought trees stood up straight. I only found out just now they actually stand with both arms in the earth, all of them. Look over there. Aren't you surprised? Yon he sprang up and pointed to the window. All of them, they are all standing on their heads. John He laughed frantically, and he remembered moments from their childhood when John He's face had worn the same expression as it did now. Like she laughed in the past. And well, this is the scene when she's like, oh, trees are not like this, are just like this. So, and she has been practicing handstand in order to do the same. And then remember that, she was practicing and then she got lost. She hasn't been eating since then. And the doctor told her, like, hey, if your sister is not with, she doesn't want to eat by herself at 2 p.m., I will see you in order to connect her. So I think this is the end of the chapter. It finishes here when it says I need water. I need to water my body. I don't need this kind of food, sister. I need water. So it finishes here. And then the last chapters, well, it is just, well, the last chapter, my bad, so sorry. I'm just, focused on how many pages are left. But the last pages, it is just the end of this last chapter of the book, the third chapter. And we will see what is finally happened with John Hees. That is the main character, John He. I think it is well pronounced. And well, that everybody around her changed as well, her husband, her brother-in-law, her sister, her parents. So let's see how the story ends. And well, it has been a very interesting story. Very, very it makes you think some stuff. So I hope you continue liking. And well, like thank you so much. I will see you next Thursday just to finish this story. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.